Hey everyone, Edwin here from Pretty Green Vinyl Guy, and I'm going to do a video tonight. It's a thread, I guess, that Andrew from Tales from the Crate started. He did a Give Me 10 deep tracks, so he featured 10 albums and 10 songs that aren't not necessarily known off those albums. And I guess the other thing was keeping the albums something that we all know. So not really obscure, rare stuff because nobody would know any of the songs more than likely anyway, right? So I was going through my collection today and I picked off 10 actually super well known artists. Maybe the albums aren't going to be everyone's favorite, but certainly we all know who these people are. So let's get going. So 10 deep tracks. So the first one I came up with was the Rolling Stones. This is Between the Buttons. This is a nice French pressing that I have with the glossy color. And the song on this is She Smiles Sweetly, which is a lovely ballad. And this was featured in the movie The Royal Tenenbaums. So some of you might know the song from that. I love that cover. And yeah, it's just a lovely melodic ballad. And I don't know what else to say about it, but it's a great song that everyone should check out. And it's certainly something that's never mentioned when you think of the Rolling Stones. So it's She Smiles Sweetly. Next we have The Who. This is Odds and Sods. And the song I'm referring to is Naked Eye, which is on side 2. This is a song that even the band overlooked themselves for many years. But when they did the Who's Next on the extra tracks, they do a renewed version of Naked Eye. And yeah, it's a pretty rockin' Who song. That no one ever talks about, but it's a catchy little number. So that's The Who, Odds and Sods. Next we have Pink Floyd, Momentary Lapse of Reason. This was the 1987, did this come out? I think so. Album. This was the Gilmore Mason. Even Richard Wright wasn't in the band at this point. And, you know, fans are split on this album. Some people think it's up there with everything else, and others think it's a little weak. Personally, I think the Learning to Fly song, because it was such a radio-friendly song, maybe ruined some of the rest of the album. But the song I'm referring to is Sorrow, which is the last song on side 2. And it's a very Pink Floyd sounding song. It's got Rogers. It's got David Gilmour's guitar written all over it, and just great melodies and sound. And yeah, I mean, I'm kind of split on this album too. But Sorrow is a underlooked classic that everyone should check out. Next is Face to Face by the Kinks. And the song I'm referring to is Rosie, Won't You Please Come Home, which is the second song on side 1. This was a song that Ray wrote about his older sister who moved to Australia when he was quite young. And she ended up dying over there in an accident. And he wrote a song later about her, and he revisits her again later in life when the Kinks released Come Dancing, which is also about his sister. And yeah, this is a great song, just beautifully sung, great storyline. Rosie, Won't You Please Come Home from the Kinks, Face to Face. Next up we got Van the Man, got Van Morrison, Into the Music. This was quite I guess quite a religious album for Van. Quite spiritual, maybe that's the word. The big hit on this was Bright Side of the Road. Um, but I'm going with Angel Lou, which is the second song that opens side two. Sorry, the first song that opens side two. And what I'm going to do for this video is I'm going to link down below YouTube videos for all of these songs rather than do a vinyl needle drop. I did a video yesterday and YouTube took it down because I had a Beatles song playing in the background. So just to be safe, I'm going to do that. But this Angel Lou, there's a performance of this song he does at the Montreux Jazz Festival, and it's just so soulful and beautiful. You know, Van at his best for sure. And yeah, I mean, Into the Music overall, this is a great album. This is in the positive side of his discography. I know some of those 80s albums they weren't great. There's some good ones, but you know, to the standard that he can put out. But this was a very strong album. And yeah, so yeah, Into the Music. Next we're gonna go with David Bowie. This is the Low album. And the song we're going to talk about is Crashing in the Same Car, which I believe is the 5th song on side 1. And it's just no songs in the back. It's a Japanese pressing of this without the obi, unfortunately, but still plays just beautifully. But Crashing in the Same Car was, well, he actually did crash his car. He was, I think, high driving through an underground parking lot and he smashed it up. But he decided to turn that into a positive and he wrote a song about it. But the song was really a metaphor about all of the different directions he had taken musically and how he kind of jumped around. And I guess he wanted to, you know, get into one kind of form, which is probably the start of the trilogy that he did with Eno in Berlin, with Low, Heroes, and Lodger. Yeah, so again, not a song you ever think about when you think of Bowie, but Crashing in the Same Car is a great song. It's got the keyboard hook by Eno, and yeah, great song. Next we're going to go with McCartney. We're going to go from the Ram album, which is ironic because I picked this album because a lot of fans think this is his best album, right? A lot of people go, yeah, Ram. But naming a song off of Ram, you've got Uncle Albert Admiral Hazley, maybe The Backseat of My Car, and probably not too many other songs people can name off of this album. But the song that I really enjoy is Monkberry Moon Delight, which is the second song on side 2. And it's something that sounds not typically McCartney. It's got great vocals. His voice sounds really raspy and strong. And yeah, I mean, if you don't have Ram, it's definitely a great album to get. You can pick this up for super cheap. This is a pretty clean copy I got for maybe $10 at the most. And yeah, so check out Monkberry Moon Delight. Ram. Next we're going to go with the Beach Boys. Now the song I chose, I've only got it on Endless Summer. It was a B-side for Dance Dance Dance. So the song is called The Warmth of the Sun, which featured on the Shutdown Volume 2, but it is on Endless Summer as well. And The Warmth of the Sun is just a beautiful melodic song. just fantastic vocals. Mike Love sings it. And the story goes that the song was written on the day that John F. Kennedy was assassinated. And even though initially Brian Wilson had written a song about that, he started writing it that morning. And by the time they got to the studio about 10 days later, of course, it became part of the meaning of the song, part of the feeling of the song. And it's a great song. You know, there's so many Beach Boys greatest hits, and it is on Endless Summer, but you'd rarely see it on anything. So the song's The Warmth of the Sun. And then we've got a little AC/DC, High Voltage, Bon Scott, which is, I was trying to think of something different that still everybody knew. And there's a song on this album called Can I Sit Next to You, Girl, which is the second song on side 2. And, you know, when you watch Andrew's video, he talks about T-Rex, Mark Bolan, and how there's a vibe, a groove to a T-Rex song. And this album reminds me of that. This album has a vibe to it. It has something going on, and particularly Can I Sit Next to You, Girl? It sounds like a glam rock song. It sounds like T-Rex could sing it. So that kind of is what inspired me to pick it. It's not a song that anyone would pick off of this album, and certainly I don't know if they even played it live at any point, but great song. So that's AC/DC from High Voltage. Can I Sit Next to You, Girl? And then the last one I chose, maybe the most obscure of all of them, but you all know I'm a huge Tom Waits fan. This is off Mule Variation, which was his 1999 album. And this was a big album for Tom. He won a couple of Grammys with it. He won Folk Album of the Year, and he won a Grammy for the song Hold On, which was arguably the hit, I guess, if there's a hit on a Tom Waits album, but that was the song. But the song I'm going to tell you about is Georgia Lee, which this is a double, this is the opening song on side 4. Georgia Lee was a song that Tom wrote about a young black girl that was found murdered in California, I believe it was. And there's some conspiracy, maybe, that the police could have acted sooner. She was from a very poor family, a single mom, and she went missing, and nobody really took the time to go look for her. And the lyrics, of course, are very heavy, you know, asking God if he was watching, asking God if he was listening, you know, is there a God kind of idea. And just a haunting song, his lyrics and his voice and what he's talking about, you know, just this real Americana kind of thing. And yeah, if you don't have this album, it's fantastic. Tom Waits' Mule Variations, the song is Georgia Lee, and that's my 10. So I hope that you know, keeps the thread going, and please comment below. I will leave a link to all the songs so that you can click and check them out. And let's keep this going, VC. All the best. Cheers, everyone.